Huge news to people who don't like rainbow capitalism. You heard of that? Rainbow capitalism, when corporations insincerely pander to LGBT progressive positivity, like try to signal their progressivism on those issues as a way of getting your money. Well, I've got good news. We're done with that. Okay. What do you get after you're done with rainbow capitalism? Regular capitalism, as it turns out, which is slightly less queer friendly. Pixar has removed a transgender character's storyline from their new series Win or Lose. Look at me here. Fake fan. What do I know about the series? Nothing. Saw a cut scene, though. As a matter of fact, it's on Twitter. This be content ID? There's no way it's a storyboard sketch. It's the material that's being cut isn't that important, really. A trans character, a chick, in the ladies' restroom, feels some doubt about the rightness of her being there, freaks out, leaves, and someone, comes up and is like, "Hey, how you doing?" And she's like, "Ah, okay." And then they go, I don't know, kick some balls or whatever. I don't know what sport they're playing. Is it soccer? Is it soccer? Baseball? It's got to be baseball. Wearing baseball caps. You can only wear baseball caps during baseball. They're not real baseball caps unless they're made in Champagne, France, right? Ain't the first time this has happened. Wasn't there recently a whole episode cut? Devil, Dinosaur, and Moon Girl, I think it was. I don't know if that was also Disney, but it was also sports based, and it was also positive about a transgender girl who was on the team, and they cut that as well. This is going to keep happening, folks. Look, the people who run Hollywood, the capital owners, the producers, the studio execs, so on and so forth, all those people are not, as a rule, progressive. In fact, I would imagine for the most part, they're your pretty typical, like, upper crust CEO types. That is to say, they're probably reactionary and vote Republican. Maybe they schmooze in the kind of circles where you pretend to be socially progressive because it makes things a little bit easier. It's like a social lubricant. But that's the case for a lot of like rich assholes, right? That's the case for Donald Trump. Donald Trump does not personally care about trans people or gay people or whatever. She's doing like Epstein and Hollywood, New York Wall Street sex parties for like decades and decades. He doesn't care. It's not his, but it's a class signifier thing. The reason why, for the most part, the arts tend to be a bastion of progressivism is because I think that, and I'm casting a wide net here. This is like a very broad statement, but I think for the most part that making good art requires introspection. It requires having like a story you want to tell or a message you want to deliver. You have to have a point, and I think that oftentimes people who want to make a compelling point, people who want to say something challenging, or people who want to deliver a story that resonates with others, it requires a degree of not only introspection, but like critical analysis of the things that we take for granted. If you're just telling people what they already know, I think for the most part, people find that kind of uninteresting. At the very least, you have to know, even if you're telling the same story over and over, you have to know what makes it tick. Unquestioning, unknowing acceptance of the things that you like. That's how you get pigs eating slop from a trough, right? Like, you want to know why you like what you like, even if what you like is, like your Lord of the Rings standard fantasy action, good guys, bad guys kind of deal. Not to say that Tolkien is isn't ever morally complicated, but I think that you can tell the difference between people who like simple, well-trodden subjects, stories, archetypes thoughtlessly, and people who like them with a little bit of thought. And I think that being queer, being gay, trans, whatever else, tends to kind of force you to critically examine social standards because people keep throwing rocks at you. Maybe not necessarily rocks. Maybe the rocks are like people saying mean stuff to you online. I don't know. Maybe you think a little more critically. But some I don't support all queer people. Some of you are dumb bitches, right? Like, it's a wide world. Like I said, I'm casting a wide net. Rainbow capitalism's over. This is going to happen more and more. People are going to fear reprisal. I think the major fear isn't necessarily like the public getting more anti-gay, anti-trans. I think the major fear is that since half of Republican politicians are basically like wannabe e-celebs who will jump on literally anything in a desperate effort to make a word or a name for themselves, get their word out. Like, look at what Nancy Mace has been doing. Seriously, like, it's just, there's so many of them just like, they act like YouTubers. they understand the power of celebrity. That's for sure. I'm reminded of an instance. I forget the exact context of this or the exact circumstance. DeSantis said that he would weaponize the Florida AG to prosecute a company because the company it was the Bud Light, the Bud Light ad, because Bud Light had paid for one Instagram ad where Dylan Mulvaney, a trans woman, posed with the beer, and she was like, this beer isn't shit, actually, you know. Because of that and the Bud Light fallout afterwards, Ron DeSantis, a governor, said he would weaponize his state's prosecutorial powers in order to attack Anheuser-Busch, right? That's the parent company, because they had criminally, negligently betrayed the interests of their shareholders by going woke, which tanked the value of the brand. That, I think, is like the real fear here. It's not just people getting more reactionary. It's that these and that to my knowledge, this didn't even play out. He was just saying it, but like, it's a big threat, you know? And that's the real, I think, the real concern. It's not just people are going to dislike gay or trans characters. It's that anything could become the next Bud Light. And hey, what a masterclass in media manipulation that was. Really makes you wish the Democrats had a spine or balls or anything, a voice, perhaps. Like, seriously, it's what Republicans did with Bud Light, you could do with anything. I know it sounds crazy, but you can actually make mountains out of molehills, any molehill, relatively easily if you have a spine. And Democrats don't. It'd be nice. I wish there were more mountains, you know? I wish we made more mountains. Because Republicans have successfully shifted the beliefs of a significant portion of the electorate by being very loud, very annoying, and very wrong whenever it was convenient to them. We wouldn't even have to be wrong. We would just have to be loud and annoying. And I'm loud and annoying for a job. I'm trying my best out here. But Republicans have this like grid, this lockstep mechanism of politicians, legacy media, independent media on their side that all fall in line, repeat the same talking points. They blow everything up. They're shameless. I'm just saying we didn't get here accidentally. Frustrates me when I look the Twitter replies and people are like, what happened? It seemed like just yesterday that we were seeing so much acceptance for trans and gay people. Well, it wasn't an accident. People didn't just randomly shift their positions. It was it's a psyop. It's an orchestrated attempt to shift the psychological and emotional state of Americans via, like, you know, targeted propaganda. That's what it is. That's the point. That's what they did. They did it knowingly. Why don't we do it? Why don't we do it for something good? There was just a mass shooting by a neo-Nazi, a high school shooting by a neo-Nazi. Surely that led to more harm than Dylan Mulvaney with the Bud Light, except, I suppose, for the harm caused by convincing people Bud Light is worth buying and drinking, which, you know. What do the Democrats do with that? Well, as far as I can tell, Biden just gave another pissy little, oh, we got to do something about gun violence. That's it? You have so many instances of like insane... Dude, I bet you if the Democrats were like, all right, listen up, okay? We're locking in. We're now going to communicate with all of these, you know, precincts, DAs. We're going, every time across this country, some lunatic right-wing racist, anytime some white guy in an Applebee's screams the N-word and then, like, you know, football tackles a single black mother of three for no reason or whatever. Anytime, I literally just saw the video of this on Twitter of this white woman refusing to have her hands cuffed. She was sitting down. She was refusing to have her hands cuffed. She was in a cell. The police were like giving her rights, I suppose. She shot and killed a black mother. Was it the mother, or she shot and killed someone who was black? I don't remember if it was the mother or the child of the mother, through her door. You know, like, she was inside of her house. A knock was heard. Bang, bang. You know, she was arrested, thank God, you know, even though I believe the state was Florida. So I'm happy to hear that's, you know, they don't just let you walk after that, even in Florida. And you know, like, there's so much shit happening all over the country, all the time. These right-wing, these lunatics, these MAGA assholes, these antisocial freaks Sometimes they hurt people, they kill people. You could make mountains out of any one of these non-molehills. It's not a Bud Light Instagram ad. It's assault and murder. You could make mountains out of these, but you don't. Well, maybe you do. I don't know who's watching this. Democrats don't. Look at what they did in Springfield, Ohio. Look at what they did in Aurora, Colorado. Nothing stories that they took to the very top, the highest point of discourse, a presidential debate. They're still talking about it. I'm sorry. This is about the end of rainbow capitalism. That's what I was supposed to be talking about. You know, you let me. It's you pull me away from stream on account of my cough, and you say, Vosh, talk about anything. Give me 5 minutes. I'm going to start complaining about the Democrats. What can I say? I'm still upset about the whole losing to an incompetent 80-year-old fascist thing. I'm sorry. I'm just a little bit bitter about it. I'm just a little bit bitter about maliciously, incompetently fastball pitching this country into a nightmare spiral. You know, I'm just a little bit upset about it. You're going to get a lot less of stuff like this. Maybe not a total disappearance. I don't think the Republicans are going to succeed in culturally pushing back. You know, like, I don't think they're going to make Americans hate and fear trans and gay people like the way they would have 30 or 40 or 50 years ago or anything like that. Maybe you get a bit of a pushback. I don't know how much. Depends on how much time they get. Who knows if we'll get another election. You're going to get less affirming stuff, which is really sad. Not much else to say about it, really. It's kind of just a canary in the coal mine issue. Corporations are afraid. Isn't Target no longer doing their Pride section? Target used to have like a Pride section the appropriate month. You know, like you can get a cheap t-shirt with a rainbow on it that was assembled by slaves in Bangladesh. That was nice. Not even. It's not nice. They're not doing the Pride stuff anymore, I don't think. Corporations are folding. In the absence of this phony pandering, no longer existing rainbow capitalism, genuine efforts at promoting solidarity and visibility will become ever more necessary. Do not go gently into that good night. That's what they want. Like with their big deportation plans. They're not going to deport 20 million people. They'll deport, I don't know, 500,000, maybe 500,000, and let the fear of deportation strike terror into the hearts of the remaining undocumented immigrants, who will then work twice as hard and stay twice as quiet when they're working for substandard wages in their agricultural or textile or restaurant work or whatever. It's a way to scare them into line. And likewise with trans people. I don't think they're building death camps for trans people. Not yet, at least. Takes a little while. You know, labor costs are high in this country. You've got to build the camps locally. Look at how long it takes for them to build a single high rise in a major metropolitan area. They got those 5/1s in Seattle they've been building for what feels like 2-3 years now. They're not going to build death camps overnight. Give it a bit. You'll know that when the warning signs start cropping up. They're not going to do that. What they are going to do is try to terrorize trans people into going back into the closet. Yeah, that's how it worked with gay people for like ever. You think they were like executing every gay guy? What do you think they do in Iran? How, like in Iran or Saudi Arabia, how many gay people do you think are getting arrested or executed over there, like day to day? There's a lot of people in those countries. How many? Probably not that many. I'm not even looking it up. I don't care if I'm right or wrong. I know I'm right. Comes from here. Why then? Well, because the goal isn't to actually like eradicate all gay people, or at least that's not like a functional goal. The functional goal is to keep them scared straight. Keep them in the closet, out of sight, out of mind. And that's what's happening here, on a corporate level, at least. So don't go along with it. What I'm saying is, for every bit of censorship we see in media from Disney, Pixar, whatever, you need to be 5% more gay. So it's actually like a very heterosexual garment of clothing that I'm wearing. I don't necessarily know if I could sell like gay with this. More just like, and I'm saying this aspirationally, you know, I'm on day 2 on the Peloton. Okay. Can you see the gains? More like a calendar, like a pinup calendar a grandma would have. You know what I mean? You'd have the firefighters, and then you'd have like the guy with the denim work shirt, whatever. You know, the Peloton instructor said that's a good thing to do. She did it. She looked ridiculous doing it, because you look ridiculous doing it. It's a ridiculous, like, you look silly doing it. She's a very pretty lady, I imagine, you know, especially for a person recording her workouts for broadcast via the Peloton, you know, she'd be concerned with her image. Why then did she do this? Well, she said it helps relax your diaphragm, helps you assume a bit more control over it. Honest to God, I gave it a try. It worked. And not like right now, like I'm just sitting here, but when you're bicycling and you're tired, you're like that, you know, get so focused on getting the air that you kind of stop exercising control over the muscles. So you do that and it kind of shakes, like it's like shaking your arms except for your innards. It's interesting. Not really relevant to the point. Softball? It's not baseball, it's softball. Take those baseball caps off. They don't respect you. Take care, people. And attention provided. That's two. How you doing, little man? You got opinions? That's great. All right.